I hear this statement that, well, you know, there's this Israel lobby all around Trump. Trump had the entire Democratic Party globalist operation against him. You want to get into the numbers. Something like 80% of Jews historically vote Democrat, and that's the most powerful bloc. And Trump got called anti-Semitic, which he never was. He's got a lot of Jewish friends and Jewish family. And he is a right-winger. And he does think Israel has a right to exist. That isn't a conspiracy. Then you bring up Larry Silverstein and the World Trade Centers that clearly had bombs in it. I've made films. I've covered that. The guys in business in New York, you make some connection to some lawyer you say was on a lease or something. People do that to me. They went and found some corporation I set up and found out of tens of thousands of corporations set up at the top place that set them up. Didn't even know the lawyers there, just got recommended and went in. It's like, oh my gosh, the Brothmans got a liquor license in Texas set up here. They do that in all 50 states. No, his show is owned by the Brothmans. Well, if that's the case, where's my free Crown Royal? This is the conspiracy theorist, schizophrenic stuff that I talk about. When I talk about stuff, hey, you know, they probably shot down that Russian airplane with a missile. A week later, ISIS releases the video. Remember? Now Putin's saying it's a criminal investigation of this new one. I said it looks like a way to drive a wedge between Turkey and Russia, who are making a deal. The intelligence agencies are infiltrated by Wahhabists in Turkey. Now that's what Russia's saying. Because it wasn't a conspiracy theory, it was a historical analysis. But I don't want to digress. I'm going to take a few of your calls, so I've got to get to this other news. Like the producers were saying, hey, you wanted to lead the show with the mall riots nationwide and people getting shot and people getting run over and all the rest of it. So I'm going to get to that, too, coming up in the next segment. I want to hit this AI computer stuff. It's just, I hear all that stuff about Israel, and I hear all that stuff about 9/11. And clearly, a lot of different Western intelligence agencies were aware of it, and some of them were involved. And I do believe that elements of Israeli intelligence with the criminal, Arab, double agent operators in Saudi Arabia and our own intelligence agencies were clearly highly involved in 9/11. And that's come out in the 28 pages that intelligence agencies ordered to stand down bare minimum. Does that mean everybody in our Pentagon was involved? No, less than 1/10 of 1%. Does that mean everybody was involved in Israel? Less than 1/10 of 1%. Or England. When they move and do something like this on purpose, they get all the major intelligence agencies involved so everyone is compromised so no one can blow the whistle. And it was done with Saudi Arabian funding to blame Iraq, their archenemy, and begin the takedown of the Middle East you now see in phase 2 with Obama. Now, I had that before Wesley Clark ever came out and confirmed it all. This is an admitted program to turn radical Islam loose. 9/11 was done to go after radical Wahhabist Islam's enemies. People say, why were you against the Iraq war, but now you're such an enemy of Islam? I was against it because it was part of the destabilization program for the clash of civilizations that we're now seeing phase 2 of. And it's a real clash. So I stand with what's left of the West and Christendom. I tried to stop their big giant project in the Middle East of removing secular pro-Western leaders. Globalists don't want that now. That was an old Eisenhower program. That's not been the program since the 80s. I study Machiavellian systems. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know Israel's not going anywhere. Over 400 to 600 nukes, cruise missiles, long-range missiles, hypersonic missiles. Just like all the neocons and the crazy left and that fruitcake Oberman. Russian scum. We need war with Russia. No, we don't. They've got 10,000 nuclear weapons. Well, what are you, a Russian agent? No. What are you, an Israeli agent? No. Get outside the box. Think like a Machiavelli. Doesn't mean you live like one or you use it. Think like a Machiavelli. And then ask yourself, what on earth are you talking about saying I'm a Russian agent or Rex Tillerson is because he wants to drill in Russia or Trump is? It's bull. We want a stable, prosperous world. I've studied the amount of oil that's supposedly in the Golan Heights. I've looked at that stuff off the coast there in the Mediterranean. It is negligible. There are a bunch of laws against drilling in the Mediterranean. It's not sweet crude or natural gas. Of course, there's a bunch of corporate people on boards. Dick Cheney's on hundreds of boards. So, yes, I know all about that. Trump's trying to not have a war in that region and trying to kick ISIS and al-Qaeda out and going against a current Israeli policy that's been to actually back a lot of these groups that are causing the civil war. Trump is bucking that entire program while at the same time being friendly to Israel. He's taking the moral high ground. And it's not right to call up and then extrapolate and connect him to 9/11 when he came out on the day of 9/11 and the day after on Fox and on CNN and said, I believe there had to be bombs in those buildings. It was brought down by explosives. A plane doesn't do that. And then described the architecture of Tower 1 and Tower 2. If he was an insider, he wouldn't have said that. The insiders fought him with everything they had. The emails all came out. Good elements of our own intelligence agencies leaked it. We know Trump's for real. Now, he's got a stratagem of high road to be nice to Israel, nice to America, nice to Russia, nice to everybody, till somebody screws him. That's called old-fashioned American power. What Eisenhower and others did is returning. Does everybody understand that? That's why I get a headache hearing a caller like that, because he made some good points on the surface. But what Trump's doing would mess up an Israeli deal to get that oil. Oh, sure, he's supporting settlements in some limited areas because Israel's growing. That's what Israel's doing, and Israel's under attack. And this two-state solution was always a fraud. Trump's just being honest about it. Israel's going to expand out to the edge of its borders, and if the Arabs are dumb enough to attack them again, they're going to expand past that. The whole world obsesses with Israel. Isn't it biblical? Instead of in our own backyards with what's happening here. You know, hundreds of thousands, more than 200,000 men, women, and children. Over 100,000 were military combatants, so total it's 300,000, but 200,000 non-combatants, it's estimated, look it up, invaded Syria in the last 6 years to take over land, to colonize it. That's what Arabs do. They just take over. Saudi Arabia has invaded them 2 times in the last 100 years, taking over Syria and then getting kicked out. The Syrians all know because their grandparents fought this. Sunni, Shiite, you name it, are fighting against the radical Sunnis that are coming in to take over their land, take over their markets, their companies, their businesses, their factories. There had no word out of the Palestinians, a word out of MSM, a word out of Hollywood about how wrong it is to back this takeover. Israel took over a much smaller area in the 1940s, and that's all I ever hear about. How much bigger is Syria than Israel? Let's Google that number. I want to say it's like 25 times bigger. They come in, take over, mass murder, suicide bomb their own kids, suicide bomb families' dads, or they'll kill their kids, and not a word. Our media says they're great. They're the rebels. They have made-for-TV movies. How good they are. Oh, where's everyone's concern about the Islamic Jihad taking over and murdering people in mass, or how they're colonizing? Yeah, I'm not talking about population. Syria's 22 million. Israel's what, 8, 9 million? 8 million. No, I'm talking about geographically, how much bigger. Square miles of Israel versus square miles of Syria, and then divide it out. And we'll have the number. I'm just going from memory. The point is, it's a lot bigger. But nobody cares. There's made-for-TV movies on HBO and Netflix about how great the jihadis are, and the left all praises when the jihadi kills the Russian ambassador, on and on and on. Look how big Israel is on the map. Tiny compared to Syria. And then you've got the Saudi Arabians through Iraq invading Syria, and you don't hear a word about it. I bet, just from looking at it, that Syria is 18 times bigger. I'm just let's look at Saudi Arabia. That was all stolen the last 100 years by a group of criminals, child molesters, kidnappers. That's what the Saudi family did. They ran caravan robber groups that slaved women. Their ancestors were black slavers. They slaved blacks. So, of course, every domestic group worships them and joins Islam. Oh, you said blacks weren't human. Well, I better join your group immediately. Ha! Again, all fantasy land, all disinfo. The globalists are double-crossing the West, and that includes Israel. And is Israel perfect? No. Is the United States perfect? No. Is Europe perfect? No. The point is, the globalists are double-crossing the whole deal with radical jihadis. Now, I've got to, you know what, I know Bracken's coming on. Let's push him to about 15 after, and I'll do the AI stuff at the start of the next hour because it's so important. I want to focus on that. I want to get into mall riots as well and what that signifies, the breakdown of civilization and culture and just total entitlement and total thug gangster culture being pushed by MSM. So Israel is 0.12 times as big as Syria. That's 0.12? Or is that 12 times smaller? We'll do the math. All right, let's go ahead and go back to your phone calls. I'm ranting. Oh, briefly. They were telling me during the break, but I didn't get all the info, and Anthony was going to go print it up for me. Super Male Vitality is our best-selling product other than Survival Shield X2. It is concentrated into an oil, key known herbs for thousands of years that naturally get your body to basically wake up, more energy, more libido, more stamina. Personally, I get a much better effect from Super Male Vitality than when my doctor gave me some and I tried Cialis, not that I even needed it. It is incredible what Super Male Vitality has done for me. And I just want to encourage everybody to take advantage of it because it's selling out right now. We don't have more coming in until 3 weeks into 2017 because we're running free shipping store-wide, 30% off Super Female and Super Male Vitality, 2 different formulas. Super Male is going to sell out in the next few days. I want to thank you all for your support. But I would take advantage of it if you've never tried it before in your New Year's resolution. The energy, the libido. The first thing people notice within 2 days is the libido. We never even designed it for that or pitch it as that. But for people that are not exercising a lot or not getting outside or who just aren't charged up, you will notice it a lot more than folks that are operating at maximum or peak performance. But still, those folks feel it. Super Male Vitality available at InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. We've sold out a Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver. That was 50% off. Super Blue Fluoride-Free Toothpaste. That's sold out. DNA Force is sold out. Biome Defense with 50 billion probiotics is sold out. The half strength, it's half the cost, 25 billion per capsule strains. That is still available. It's the exact same thing. It's just half the cost because it's half the dose. Survival Shield X2 is selling out. Lung Cleanse is selling out. Living Defense is selling out. Calm Child is sold out. We got a lot of other products, obviously, there on the site. InfoWarsLife.com. Thank you all for your support. We're going to be getting more reporters, more camera people, more crew members in the new year because of your support. We're going to the maximum resistance level. InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And I see Anthony Gucciardi in there in the control room via the monitor. Not sure what his intel is, but you said you were going to have more info for me, Anthony.
Yeah, I just wanted to come in and let you know we just got the numbers here from the warehouse, and we are now selling out of Super Male Vitality at 30% off. What happens is, try to order as much as we can, but with the election specials and all of that. But at the same time, like you're saying, the taxes are insane. We're selling out of Super Male at 30% off. Brain Force is getting very, very low at 33% off. But it looks like we're going to have to hold back some Super Male soon for auto ship and everyone else. So if you want Super Male Vitality, which is, in my view, the best product that InfoWars Life has, 30% off. And also Secret 12 is getting very low. We've already sold out of Colloidal Silver, the toothpaste, DNA Force, Child Ease, Probiotic. So it's pretty much selling out very, very quickly.
I never asked you your view on Israel. And we're good friends. Personally, I don't talk about it because I'm sick of hearing about it. There's a lot bigger world than just Israel. I mean, no offense to Israel, but this obsession, especially by Israel bashers. What do you make of this attempt to basically have Obama come out in a new resolution and say that Israel doesn't have a right to exist?
It's such an insanely complex issue, obviously. And I'd say the ridiculousness of it is over and over again that we have everything put into like an A or a B choice, right? Like a multiple choice, like it's either A or B, and nobody wants to look at the complexity of the issues. And then you have it kind of like a fighting system where everyone's like, so for some reason, oh, Israel's amazing, it's pro-Israel, everything's so awesome about Israel. And then you have the people that say Israel's the root of all evil and everything's terrible. I think that the ridiculousness of it is that it's such an intertwining thing that we need to look at historically and also study the areas, because it's funny, like the Vice documentary, though, about how horrible Israel is for ruining Palestine and stuff. They couldn't even go into some of the Palestinian areas because they would have things thrown at them and attacked. But at the same time, Palestine sends a bottle rocket over there and they want to go ahead and blow them up. So pretty much all angles you can look at it in that way.
Sure, and both sides try to bully you into supporting them. All I'm saying is Israel's not sending their little daughters as suicide bombers. And then people say, oh, it's colonialism. Well, the Jews had a claim to Jerusalem going back 3,000 years. It's not like the U.S. coming and taking the Native Americans' land. Israel is not what you call classical colonialism. And by the way, as soon as we got here, the Native Americans were all trying to get us to attack their neighbors. They were always killing each other. And I'm not bashing Native Americans either. Humans all act the same. All I'm saying is saying Jews are inherently evil is bull. Or saying white people are inherently evil, or black people. It is the heart of racism, and now we've got all these white professors coming out saying, I want to celebrate white genocide. I want whites to die this year. Look, you're an effing white male. Look in the mirror, twerp. And, of course, this twerp, again, is a leftist communist Jew who's a white guy who says Israel doesn't have a right to exist, and he wants white people dead. I mean, again, to say Israel's all a bunch of evil people who are right-wingers, look at how most Jews I know are like super left-wing middle cases. So, and I'm not trying to be mean here, it's just a fact. This is a more complex issue. When I say most Jews I know, I mean in the media. And we're going to skip this break so we have more time. You want to comment on that?
I totally agree with everything you're saying in terms of it's absolutely absurd because it also ties into the whole victimization of it, right? Like, oh, this is so horrible, so terrible. Let's not focus on the Islamic terror in any capacity. We need to just get rid of Israel, right? So it's all about...
And Israel's got between 400 and 600 nukes. They're not going anywhere.
Right. And it's this whole thing where we can't talk about Islamic terror or you're racist or you're bad. So let's reframe it somehow now to Israel needs to go away and they're horrible and they're the reason for everything. It's absolutely absurd. But you know who is the reason though? Okay, no one talks about Obama funding the Free Syrian Army beheading Christians like you do. Okay, no one talks about that. In Reuters 2008 leaks, Obama's giving them weapons systems.
Oh no. I mean it's cool in the liberal media to do
Creating
that.
ISIS.
Oh, it's so sexy, the wonderful rebels.
Yeah, but anything to defer away from that. And then Obama sits there like, yes, we have to help them. We have to get rid of Israel. It's a sad, sad thing. What? You funded the groups that started the whole Islamic terror movement in the areas by beheading people in the public square, gave them missile launchers.
Absolutely. We don't have 5 million Jewish refugees in Europe murdering people and attacking Christmas events. I mean, that's all I'm saying is stop covering up for the Islamic terror, liberals. Then I'll listen to you about Israel. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, and then they go and talk about settlements and about who can live in certain settlements. Settlements? You know, the thing we just discussed about him arming the Free Syrian Army. How about the support of what is now ISIS and then not even admitting that they are ISIS, not even talking about it? Yeah, because you're the progenitor of it. You created it by funding these groups.
And I'm going to calls. Here's my final point. You brought up some really central points, Anthony, that I hadn't got to, so I'm glad you popped in. Pop in anytime, please. I'm encouraging the whole crew to do that. We don't have a guest on. Let's just look at it mathematically, logically, okay? Let's just look at it cold-bloodedly. And I'm not saying then make your moral decision off that. I'm saying let's scientifically look at it. Israel has 400 to 600 nukes, global attack submarines with nukes, cruise missiles, ICBMs, medium-range tactical nukes. They've got everything. One of the most advanced militaries in the world, okay? They've got a superpower as their ally, and now that superpower is breaking away saying we're not your ally 24 days after a repudiating election against that government. That same government just passed a law to put the FCC under the control of 16 intelligence agencies, and they say by name they want to ban us. Where's the outcry for our free speech? That's what I'm saying. Again, where is Israel going to go, folks? It's not going anywhere. So why is Obama now, not 2 years from leaving, when he could actually try to do something, why is he causing a global crisis and then handing it over to Trump? The same reason George Soros and the Ford Foundation spent tens of billions of dollars the last decade overthrowing the Middle East, overthrowing Ukraine, and trying to cause a civil war here because they're bringing in chaos so they can get control out of the chaos. This is treason. Trump needs to tell Obama, you don't make any more decisions or do anything else geopolitically, violating decades of U.S. policy until you're out of office, jackass, and then you can run around and try to cause a global crisis. This is insane. And everybody needs to repudiate what Obama's doing, because let me tell you something. It's about starting a war in the Middle East. The same climate was before World War I. I want to tell all the trendy something. When you're drafted, fighting tens of millions of screaming Islamists in some future MAGA war that the globalists engineer, remember when you're in a foxhole that you asked for it. Sorry, Anthony.
No, and then you wonder, why did he want a successor like Hillary Clinton, who's funded by Saudi Arabia, right? So...
Exactly, yes. And that is why I'm so sick of it. We got communist Chinese, we got Saudi Arabians lobbying to shut down the free press. And all I hear about all day is Israel, 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 Israel. Israel runs everything. Israel put me in charge. Israel wipes my butt in the morning. No, Israel doesn't. The leftist Israel lobby is all in my business. But I'm better than them. I want prosperity. I transcend them. And I transcend all the racist New World Order people as well. And the truth is, Israel, again, is a complex issue used as a destabilization device in the Middle East. It's way more complex than that. And again, if the public wants to know what's going on, understand this. Israel's not going anywhere without a giant worldwide nuclear war. So what are you dumbasses doing? Pushing for it and war with Russia. The globalists know they're losing. Their threat is give us world government or we'll start a nuclear war. That's always been their threat. It's how they set up world government. We're being held hostage by nuclear Armageddon, and I am pissed about it. I have 3 children. I don't think it's funny. What is my agenda? I wear it on my sleeve. Anything else, Anthony?
No, people should be pissed off. It's just like the BuzzFeed video or whatever it was about how horrible white people are. That's not racist. And then you can have Islamic terror happening over and over again, but then you're racist if you say anything about it. But let's attack Israel. Let's attack any other group. Just everything's bad besides the thing that's actually happening.
And it's big multinational corporations robbing everybody, setting up world government, turning the food off to the third world, and they just use Israel as a political football, like a voodoo doll that all the evil in the world's heaped on, while meanwhile the UN's running around colonizing countries all over for corporations, murdering entire villages on a daily basis.
They're political atheists. People don't understand. Do you really think billionaires and the mega corporate heads and stuff, they're sitting there like, well, my moral decision for this election cycle, Hillary Clinton.
Exactly, and they hate the U.S. because we have Christian morals and a free market idea and don't want to be ruled. They hate Israel for the same reason. They hate sovereign European countries for the same reason. And they're using an ideology like Islam to try to destroy us, and that's why they've opened the borders up to it.
It's whatever is most beneficial for them in their micro agenda and in their macro agenda, whatever it is, they're going to push that. They don't care. They're not sitting here worrying about the rights that are being violated. It's whatever is going to move them forward. And
Thank
until
you,
people
Anthony.
get
I'm going to go
that,
to calls
it's
now.
gonna
I
be sad.
apologize to callers. Great points. Before I go any further,
Thank you.
thank you. Before I go any further, Super Male Vitality, I've got it right here. Every batch is different. It's the same herbs concentrated over and over again into an oil. That's why it's so strong. InfoWarsLife.com. I've, again, been religiously taking it every day. I'd forgotten to do that because I've got so many great supplements. For the last 3 weeks, I'm taking it every day. Incredible. I've lost weight. I've got energy. I'm more aggressive. My libido is just on fire. Woo! In fact, I used to only take one drop, but I'm taking more. This latest batch is really strong. It don't taste good, folks, because it's not. All right. I apologize to callers. Let's go to one before we go to break here. Johnny in Kansas. Go ahead, Johnny.
Hey, Alex, appreciate the time, man.
Thank you, brother.
Before I hit my subject, let me offer you this. When we come forward with the depth and breadth of knowledge, you have these people that come forward either wanting to learn from you or tear you down. And I commend you for staying at this thing for as long as you have. What are you going on, like 25 years, 27 years?
It's like
that?
25, yeah.
Yeah, you are doing an awesome job, Alex. Just stay at it. To hell with the naysayers. They'll be in your wake forever. It don't matter.
All right, I don't want to cut you off, Johnny. I want to hear the topic you called in on executive orders and Obama. And I apologize. We're going to push Bracken back to 20 after. He's nice to come on anyways. So I'm going to get to everybody. Johnny, I'm going to come back and give you like 4 or 5 minutes. Then Chris, Dustin, Chris, and Richard. Then I've got to hit the AI stuff. I meant to do this for weeks. It's so important. Okay, I apologize to Johnny and the other callers. I pushed back our guest to go to him. I get so mad on just the Vatican stuff and the Israel stuff and the Russia stuff because, I mean, I've been called, when I was against the Iraq war, it was in newspapers, and they were saying Alex must be on the payroll of Saddam. Saddam didn't attack us. I was on the side of being informed. And look, I'm not bitching. Johnny doesn't need to call and say, great job. Hey, listen, Johnny, thank you for caring. Thank you for being a listener. We're all in this together. I mean, look, I'm honored to be here. Please don't thank me. What I get mad about is some of the public that's so ignorant that we're really trying to go over the facts here that are incontrovertible in most cases, and they just are angry, thinking everybody's got to work for somebody. And I started thinking about it, maybe because I started my own business and run my own operation. I understand a lot of folks don't work for somebody. In fact, my whole life's about not working for somebody. And I think that's why I get mad about it, is because it's not true. But go ahead and make your points about executive orders, sir.
Okay, Alex. Donald Trump already come out and said that he was going to vacate a bunch of the executive orders that Obama's done. So what he's done is he's passed the torch over to his compartment in his czar's nation that he established. And they're going to try to do it by way of just proclamation. We're going to do this now. Okay. So Trump has got to move forward and get this thing done. But here's the issue. Here's the main issue that everybody's missing, is our country is unique across this entire globe in the fact that the people are supposed to be in control. That's the essence of self-government. And the founders, when they were drawing up our articles, they decided that we were going to stay in this position where we're not led by anybody except for what we need to take care of ourselves. And we're going to be a defensive nation. We're not going to be aggressive anywhere.
And that's because they were studying William Tell in Switzerland that was only 100-something years old at that time. And if we'd have done that, wow, can you imagine?
Now, you think about this. The first 2 articles, they put so much importance on populating our representatives and paying them that those are the first 2 articles of our Bill of Rights, which should more correctly be called a Bill of Prohibitions, articles of prohibitions. You keep your hands off of this because this is the people talking. You do whatever you want in your
That's right. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It means you don't have a jurisdiction. You can't touch it.
But here's the thing. We put out a call for the people to get off their butts and force our states to ratify the original first, which is the division of the congressional districts. And then we're going to eviscerate this criminal cabal that we've got.
I agree. If we go back to the full Constitution, it'll break up the gerrymandering. There's a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But all we need is people. We've got to
But see, you're so informed, Johnny. You sound like you're speaking space alien, not to our general audience, but to a new listener. I mean, have you seen how dumb the people are we talk to and that Mark Dice talks to? They don't know what planet they're on, bro.
Yeah, I hear you there. They try to give geography to them one time. You know, where is Missouri? Come on, guys. Where is Kansas? It's the flyover area. Nobody pays any attention.
InfoWars has more than 15 YouTube channels and about 3 million subscribers. Our main channel has 1.854 or 1,854,000 plus subscribers. Now, they've been gaming the system for a long time to shut down nationalistic or patriotic media, saying we're right-wingers, saying we're extremists. Well, it doesn't matter who we are. We have a right to free speech, don't we? As long as we don't violate the rules. Well, now Zuckerberg has come out and said he's going to restrict conservative news like communist China does, calling it fake news. And Google, that owns YouTube, has announced, and they've done it now 2 weeks ago, that they're going to basically make you click the bell in your notifications. We're going to show you how to do that, or you won't get all the channels that you've subscribed to, and you won't get the videos. Now, why are they doing this? It's more than just censoring. They want you to see the videos that they feed you below and beside the videos you're looking at that are corporately sponsored so they make more money. They're taking the you out of YouTube. So we're in this information war, and it's more important than ever that you promote the videos, that you like the videos, and that you send them on to others. Because the answer to the attempt to shut us down and restrict free speech that's openly now happening is for us to redouble our efforts. We're winning the culture war as true classical liberals that made this country great. We're restoring the Renaissance. So again, if you want to get our videos, so you can make your decision whether you want to see them or not. After all, that's why you subscribed. YouTube's had this since they started 12 years ago or whatever it was. And they're fundamentally changing it so you don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promoting fake news and trash news and establishment news. It's killing real independent news. But we, the people, by taking action, can break the back of the system. So please click on the bell so you get the notifications and so you get in your feed the videos and channels you've subscribed to. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com. I hear this statement that, well, you know, there's this Israel lobby all around Trump. Trump had the entire Democratic Party globalist operation against him. You want to get into the numbers. Something like 80% of Jews historically vote Democrat, and that's the most powerful bloc. And Trump got called anti-Semitic, which he never was. He's got a lot of Jewish friends and Jewish family. And he is a right-winger. And he does think Israel has a right to exist. That isn't a conspiracy. Then you bring up Larry Silverstein and the World Trade Centers that clearly had bombs in it. I've made films. I've covered that. The guy's in business in New York. You make some connection to some lawyer you say was on a lease or something. People do that to me. They went and found some corporation I set up and found out of tens of thousands of corporations set up at the top place to set them up. Didn't even know the lawyers there. Just got recommended and went in. It's like, oh, my gosh, the Brothmans got a liquor license in Texas set up here. They do that in all 50 states. No. His show is owned by the Brothmans. Well, if that's the case, where's my free Crown Royal? This is the conspiracy theorist, schizophrenic stuff that I talk about. When I talk about stuff, hey, you know, they probably shot down that Russian airplane with a missile. A week later, ISIS releases the video. Remember? Now Putin's saying it's a criminal investigation of this new one. I said it looks like a way to drive a wedge between Turkey and Russia, who are making a deal. The intelligence agencies are infiltrated by Wahhabists in Turkey. Now that's what Russia's saying. Because it wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was a historical analysis. But I don't want to digress. I'm going to take a few of your calls. So I've got to get to this other news. Like the producers were saying, hey, you wanted to lead the show with the mall riots nationwide and people getting shot and people getting run over and all the rest of it. So I'm going to get to that too coming up in the next segment. I want to hit this AI computer stuff. It's just, I hear all that stuff about Israel and I hear all that stuff about 9/11. And clearly, a lot of different Western intelligence agencies were aware of it, and some of them were involved. And I do believe that elements of Israeli intelligence with the criminal, Arab, double agent operators in Saudi Arabia and our own intelligence agencies were clearly highly involved in 9/11. And that's come out in the 28 pages that intelligence agencies ordered to stand down bare minimum. Does that mean everybody in our Pentagon was involved? No, less than 1/10 of 1%. Does that mean everybody was involved in Israel? Less than 1/10 of 1%. Or England. When they move and do something like this on purpose, they get all the major intelligence agencies involved so everyone is compromised so no one can blow the whistle. And it was done with Saudi Arabian funding to blame Iraq, their archenemy, and begin the takedown of the Middle East you now see in phase 2 with Obama. Now, I had that before Wesley Clark ever came out and confirmed it all. This is an admitted program to turn radical Islam loose. 9/11 was done to go after radical Wahhabist Islam's enemies. People say, why were you against the Iraq war, but now you're such an enemy of Islam? I was against it because it was part of the destabilization program for the clash of civilizations that we're now seeing phase 2 of. And it's a real clash. So I stand with what's left of the West and Christendom. I tried to stop their big giant project in the Middle East of removing secular pro-Western leaders. Globalists don't want that now. That was an old Eisenhower program. That's not been the program since the 80s. I study Machiavellian systems, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know Israel's not going anywhere. Over 400 to 600 nukes, cruise missiles, long-range missiles, hypersonic missiles, just like all the neocons and the crazy left and that fruitcake Oberman. Russians